Last class we have discussed the timing and frequency synchronization. That you have studied the timing synchronization and frequency synchronization. And today we are going to study the peak to average ratio. That is the power problem, and how to quantify the peak to average ratio, clipping and other power reduction techniques we are going to study in the today's class. Here the peak to average power ratio is the ratio of the maximum power of sample in a given OFDMA transmit symbol to the average power of that OFDMA symbol. In simple terms, peak to average power ratio is the ratio of peak power to the average power of a signal, and it is expressed in the terms of units of dB. Here the power to average peak to average power ratio occurs when a multi-carrier systems, the different subcarriers are out of phase with each other. It is going to occur when the system is having different subcarriers and phase with each other. Here the OFDM signals have higher peak to average ratio. The high peak to average ratio is one of the most important implementation challenges that face the OFDMA, because it is going to reduce the efficiency and hence it increases the cost of RS power amplifier, which is one of the most expensive component of the LTE transmitter. Here the alternatively the same power amplifier can be used, but the input power of a power amplifier must be reduced. This is known as input backup, that is IBO, and results in a lower average signal to noise ratio at the receiver and hence a reduced transmit range. Here we are going to quantify the power problem, that is peak to average ratio problem. Here when a high peak signal is transmitted through a non-linear device such as high power amplifier, that is HPA, or a digital to analog converter, that is DAC, it generates out of band energy and in band distortion. When you are going to transmit a high peak signal through a non-linear device such as that is high power amplifier and digital to, that is DAC, it generates the out of band energy and in band distortion. These degradations may affect the system performance severely. So here we are going to affect the system severely. The nonlinear behavior of high power amplifier can be characterized by the amplitude modulation. Amplitude modulation, that is AM by AM, and amplitude modulation by phase modulation, that is AM by PM responses. Here this figure shows the typical power amplifier response. A typical AM by AM response for a high power amplifier with the associated input and output backups regions, that is IBO and OBO respectively. Here, to avoid the undesirable nonlinear effect just mentioned, a waveform with a high peak power must be transmitted in a linear region of HPA by decreasing the average power of the input signal. This is called the IBO, it is input backup, and results in a proportional output backup, that is OBO. Here the operation in the linear region is required in order to avoid distortion, so that the peak value must be constrained to be in this region, which means that on average the power amplifier is underutilized by backup amount. Here, to avoid the undesirable nonlinear effects just mentioned, a waveform with high power must be transmitted in the linear region of the HPA by decreasing the average power of the input signal. It is going to be called as input backup IBO, and the results in a proportional output backup OBO. Here the high backup reduces the power efficiency of the high power amplifier, and it may limit the battery life for the mobile applications. In addition to inefficiency in the terms of power, the cover range is reduced by the cost of the high power amplifier is higher than would be mandated by the average power requirements. Here the input backup is defined as, that is IBO is equal to 10 log to the base 10 into P in saturation divided by P bar in, where P in sat is the saturation power which is above the nonlinear region. This region we call it as saturation power, and P in bar is the average input power. This is the average input power, and the amount of backup is usually greater than or equal to the power signal. Here the amount of backup is usually greater than or equal to the power of the signal. Here the power efficiency of a high power amplifier can be increased by reducing the power of the transmitted signal. Here we can increase Here the efficiency of a high power amplifier can be increased by reducing the peak to average ratio of the transmitted signal. It would be desirable to have the average to peak values to be close together as possible in order to maximize the efficiency of the power amplifier. Here, in addition to the large burden placed on the high power amplifier, a high peak to average ratio requires high resolution for both the transmitters, digital to analog converters, and the receivers, that is analog to digital converters. Since the dynamic range of the signal is proportional to the power, that is peak to average, peak average ratio, and here high resolution digital to analog converter and analog to digital converter conversions places an additional complexity, cost, and the power burden on the system. This is the theoretical efficiency limits of nonlinear amplifier. In a typical OFDMA are in the 10 dB range, so the power amplifier efficiency is 50 to 75% lower than a single carrier system. This is the peak to average power ratio that is measured in dB, and this is the efficiency. Here the power efficiency can be increased by reducing the power of the transmitted signal. For example, the efficiency of the class A, this is class A, class A amplifier, that is blue lines, and the green dotted lines are class B amplifier. Here the efficiency of a class A amplifier is allowed when the input power is doubled at the operating point, that is the average power. Here the theoretical efficiency limits of two classes, that is class A and class B. It would desirable to have the average and peak values be closer together as possible in order to maximize the efficiency of the power amplifier. Next we are going to study the clipping and other power reduction techniques. First, you are going to study the clipping techniques. In this technique, clip off the highest peaks at the cost of some hopefully minimal distortion of the signal. On the second hand, conversely, it can be seen that even of the conservative choice of IBO, say it as 10 dB, there is still a distinct possibility that a given OFDMA symbol will have a power that exceeds the IBO and causes clipping. Here, in order to avoid the operating of the power amplifier in the nonlinear region, the input power can be reduced up to the amount about equal to the peak to average ratio. It is very insufficient and will reduce the range, that is signal to interference noise ratio of the system, by same amount. However, there are two important facts related to this IBO amount can be observed. First, since the highest power values are uncommon, it might be possible to simply clip off the highest peaks at the cost of some hopefully minimal distortion of the signal. And the second one, and it can be seen that even of the conservation of choice of IBO, say it as 10 dB, there is still a distinct possibility that is a given OFDM symbol will have power that exceeds the IBO and causing clipping. Here clipping, sometimes it can be called it as a soft limiting, and it truncates the amplitude of the signal that exceeds the clipping level. That is x of n is equal to a into e power j x of n. Is if modulus of x of n is greater than a, and x of n, if x of n is the less than or equal to a, where x of n is the original signal and x cap of n is the output after clipping, and a is the clipping level, that it the maximum output envelope value. Yeah, the clipping ratio can be used as a metric and is defined as gamma is equal to a divided by square root of e into modulus of x of n whole square, that is equal to a divided by square root of epsilon x, where the clipping reduces the power at the expense of distorting the desired signal. There are two primary drawbacks of clipping. First one is spectral regrowth, that is frequency domain leakage, which causes the unacceptable interference to the users in neighboring RF channels. And the second one is the distortion of the desired signals. We're going to study the spectral regrowth. It is the frequency domain leakage noise due to clipping. The clipping noise can be expressed in the frequency domain through the use of DFT, discrete Fourier transform. The resulting clipping frequency domain signals is x cap of k is equal to xk plus ck. This k is equal to 0 to L minus 1, where ck represents the clipped off signal in the frequency domain. Here in the below figure, the power spectral density of the origin x, and that is origin x and clipped x and clipped off, that is C signals are plotted for the different clipping ratios, that is gamma of 3, 5, and 7 dB. You can see this x is the original signal, C is the clipped off signal, and red lines, and the green line includes the clipped signal. The power spectral density BSD of the unclipped original and clipped nonlinearity restored OFDM signals with 2048 block size and 64 QAM when clipping ratio, that is gamma is 3,5 and 7 dB in soft limiter. Here the following deleterious effects are observed. The first one is the clipped off signal CK is strikingly increased as the clipping ratio is lower than 7 dB to 3 dB. Here the clipped off signal CK is going to increase as the clipping ratio is lowered from 7 dB to 3 dB. And this increases shows the correlation between XK and CK inside the desired band at low clipping ratios and causes the in-band signal to attend as clipping ratio is lowered. And next it can be seen that the out of band interference caused by the clipped signal X is determined by the shape of the clipped off signal CK. Here now the D of n is uncorrelated with the signal X of n, and then the attenuation factor alpha is obtained by alpha is equal to 1 minus e power minus gamma square plus square root of pi gamma divided by 2 into ERFC of gamma. Here the attenuation factor alpha is here the function of the clipping ratio gamma. Here the attenuation factor alpha is negligible when the clipping ratio gamma is greater than 8 dB. So for the high clipping ratios, the correlated time domain is clipped off signal C of n can be approximated by the correlated noise, that is D of n, that is C of n is approximately equal to D of n. Then the gamma is going to be increased. Here the variance of the uncorrelated clipping noise can be expressed assuming a stationary Gaussian input, that is X of n, that is sigma square d is equal to epsilon x into 1 minus exponential of minus gamma square minus alpha square. And it is possible to define the signal to noise ratio plus distortion ratio is one of the OFDMA symbol in order to estimate the impact of clipped OFDMA signals over a AWGN channel under the assumption that the distortion D of n is Gaussian and uncorrelated with the input and channel noise, that it can be given as SNDR is equal to alpha square epsilon x divided by sigma square d plus n naught by 2. Here the bit error probability BEP can be evaluated for different modulation types using the SNDR. In case of MQM and average power epsilon x, the bit BEP can be, that is bit error probability, can be then approximated as PB is approximately equal to 4 divided by log base to the m into 1 minus 1 divided by square root of m into q, that equal to into square root of 3 epsilon x alpha square divided by sigma square d plus n naught by n naught by 2 into m minus 1. Here this figure shows the bit error rate for the OFDMA system with L is equal to 2048 subscribers and 64 QAM modulation. Whereas the SNR increases, the clipping error dominates the additive noise and the error flow is observed. Here the error flow inferred from 3 point by letting the noise variance n naught by 2 is equal to 0.
ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರೋದಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ
Here the number of additional studies of clipping in OFDM system have been completed in the recent years. In some cases, clipping may be acceptable, but in the LTE systems, the margin of the error is quite tight, as much as this quite tight. The other techniques for reducing the power are peak cancellation or signal active constellation extension. Next, we are going to study the LTE approaches for power in the uplink. Here power is less important because the base stations are fewer in the number and generally higher in cost, and so not especially sensitive to the extract power. Here, if the power is still considered to be too high, the number of techniques can be utilized to bring it down, all with some complexity and perform trade-offs. Typically, the high power is basically tolerated and sufficient input power backup is undertaken in order to keep the in-band distortion and spectral regrowth at the acceptable level. Here the figure shows the bit error rate probability for a clipped OFDM signal in AWO channel with the different clipping ratios. This figure shows the bit error rate for an OFDM symbol system with L is equal to 2048 subscribers and 64 QA modulation. Here as the SNR increases, the clipping error dominates the additive noise and the error flow is observed. Here for the uplink, the mobiles are many in number of and are very sensitive to the cost. So the technique known as single carrier frequency division multiple access is used. For the uplink transmission, the many numbers and very sensitive to the cost. So a technique known as CFDMA is going to use. And the multiple access adoption of single carrier frequency domain equalization. Next we are going to discuss the single carrier frequency domain equalization. There are alternative approach of OFDMA is less popular but consequently similar. Single carrier frequency domain equalization, SCFDA approach to ISI suppression. Here the SCFDMA maintains OFDMA's three most important benefits. First one is low complexity even for severe multipath channels, and the second one is the excellent BR performance close to the theoretical bonds. And the third one is decoupling of ISI from other types of interference, notably spatial interference, which is very useful when using multiple antenna transmission. Here by utilizing a single carrier transmission, the peak average ratio is also reduced significantly relative to the multi-carrier modulation. Next we are going to study single carrier frequency domain FD equalization system description. You can note on this block diagram. The block diagram of OFDMA and SCFDMA are compared in the following figure. Here frequency domain equalization is used in both OFDM and SCFDA systems, primarily in order to reduce the complexity inherent to time domain equalization. Here the IFFT is moved to the end of the receiver chain rather than operating at the transmitter to create a multi-carrier waveform as in OFDM. Here an SCFDA system still utilizes a cyclic prefix, at least as long as the channel delay spread. But now the transmitted signal is simply a sequence of QAM symbols which have the low power, that is peak to average ratio in the order of 4 to 5 dB depending on the constellation size. Here by considering that an unmodulated sine wave has a power of 3 dB, and it is clear that the power cannot be lowered much below that on a SCFDMA system. Here the figure shows the comparison between OFDMA system and SCFDMA system. Here the principal difference is that the IFFT formally in the transmitter is in the SCFD receiver. You can observe that here the IFFT at the receiver. Whereas in the YFDMA system an FFT is applied, but in an SCFD system this operation moves the received signal into the frequency domain. Because of the application of the cyclic prefix, the received signal appears to be circularly convolute, that is y of n is equal to x of n, circular convolution with h of n plus w of n, where w of n is the noise. Therefore the FFT of y of n is equal to ym, y of m is equal to hm, h of m into x of m plus w of m. Just as in YFDM, with the important distinction being that now the frequency domain version x of m is precisely the data symbols, but rather the FFT of the data symbols x of n. That is analogously recall that in OFDMA systems the transmitted time domain signal x of n was not actual data symbols, but rather than IFFT to the actual data symbols. Here after the FFT, a simple one-tap FEQ can be applied that inverts each virtual subcarrier so that x cap of m is equal to y of m divided by h of m. The resulting signal can be converted back into the time domain using the IFFT operation to give an x cap of n, which are estimates of the desired data symbols. Naturally, in practice, h of m must be estimated at the receiver using pilot signals or other standard methods. And next we are going to study the SCFDME versus YF performance versus YFDM. The YFDME provides high performance, wherein SCFDME it is relatively less performance, and the high peak to average power ratio associated with the YFDME. The SCFDME the low peak to average power ratio associated with the SCFDE. In the YFDM the SNR ratio of the each data symbol does not change by multiplying constant factor at the receiver, wherein the SCFDE the signal to noise ratio, the SNR ratio of the each data symbol is changed by multiplying the constant frequency constant factor receiver. The YFDMA has a nominal less dispersive spectrum, wherein SCFDMA nominally more dispersive spectrum. In YFDMA, short scale variations in SNR would generally be addressed by the coding and interleaving, wherein SCFDE, however, the FEQ does not operate on data symbol themselves, but rather on the other frequency domain, dual the data symbols. In the OFDMA, the noise amplification is isolated, hence it does not affect all the symbols prior to decoding and detection, wherein the SCFDE, the noise amplification is not isolated to the single symbol in SCFDE, but instead affects all the symbols prior to the decoding and detection. Wherein the OFDM, one of the whole OFDMA continues to be much more popular than SCFDE. Here SCFDMA is less popular than OFDMA. We have desire considerations of SCFD and OFDM. Here in OFDMA, it is more complex. In general, OFDMA is more complex. Where in SCFD, it is relatively less complex. And OFDMA, it has a low complexity receiver. In SCFD, it has a higher complexity receiver. And in OFDMA, it has medium complexity transmitter. In SCFD, it has a low complexity transmitter. In OFDMA, LTE downlink could utilize OFDM. The SCFD LTE uplink could utilize SCFD. Here in OFDM, you are going to use LTE downlink. In SCFDM, you are going to use LTE uplink for the transmission. Here in the OFDM, the base station as transmitter would perform 3 IFFT or FFT operations, wherein SCFD performs only a single FFT operation at the receiver. In the OFDM, the power is high in OFDM and high cost and more power requirement, wherein SCFD it benefits of reduced power and the reduced cost and power savings. In the OFDMA, the channel estimation and synchronization are accomplished via a preamble of known data symbols and then pilot tones. Wherein SCFD, it includes preamble is the time domain, so it has not a straightforward to estimate the frequency domain values. In the OFDMA, the preamble can be inserted at known positions in all the subsequent OFDMA symbols, wherein SCFD it is not possible to insert pilot tones on a per frame basis, since it is used as DFT and IFFT as the transmitter. Here the OFDMA has a nominal less dispersive spectrum, where SCFD has a nominally more dispersive spectrum. Here the OFDMA sharper spectrum results in less co-channel interference and or less resistance RF roll of requirements, wherein SCFD due to dispersive spectral results more co-channel interference and more restrictive RF roll of requirements. Here then the combination in the OFDMA, the combination of OFDMA with MIMO is natural and best combination for performance improvement in fading channel. Here in SCFDA, the combination of SCFD with MIMO is not natural because detection cannot be done in the frequency domain, and it is not possible to use maximum likelihood detection for MIMO with SCFDA. And the last point of OFDMA is, on the whole, OFDMA continues to be much more popular than SCFDE. Here in SCFDE, it is less popular than OFDMA. And these are some of the design considerations for SCFD and OFDMA. This is the difference between SCFD performance versus OFDM.